going to review how to answer a question in PeerWise and show you some of the other functions that are available within the software as well. First of all, when you get to your home page, you'll be presented with a number of options you can choose. On the upper right-hand side, you'll see the two scores. One is reputation score, and that is the approximate measure of the value of your contributions to others. So again, how much value do others see in what you have brought to the group? And your answer score, which is the approximate measure of how well you've answered the question. So this number will go up if you correctly answer a question, will go down if you incorrectly answer a question. You also see along the top that there may be a notification that you've earned some new badges. So again, one of the fun things in PeerWise is that it does give you recognition for different achievements, and you can have a look at various badges that you've earned. And again, badges can be earned for different levels of contribution. For example, the first time you contribute a question, you'll get a badge. The first time you answer the question, you'll get a badge. As you do other things like commenting or signing up to be a follower of someone, you will get badges. More higher level badges are things like helpers for improving an explanation to an existing question, for either agreeing or disagreeing with at least 10 comments. And then the highest level would be things like answering 10 questions correctly in a row, or for replying to at least 5 comments written about your question. So starting a conversation, because again, part of active learning is to help each other and have each other help us. So it's the whole group dynamic of things, but again, in PeerWise, done in an anonymous environment. You'll also notice that you can actually check the leaderboards as well. So see how your reputation and answer scores relate to everyone else. You know, the top 5, how many points do they have? Both reputation and answer score. What are the top 5 rated questions? Which are the questions that were rated as being the best questions? How many questions have been answered by a single student? So what is the most questions answered by an individual? And the total number of answers to all questions contributed by a single student. So again, someone who has more followers will appear higher on this list. And again, that can be a reflection of value that you bring to the group as well. The most agreed with critic. So some of your comments and replies about comments, how do people value those? Again, who is following most? And lastly, how many days have you actively participated? So what's your usage been? So all kinds of ways to monitor your progress, not only individually, but in relation to the rest of the group as well. Now on this page as well, again, this is where you would add your question. This is where you would view your answered questions. And this is where you would view unanswered questions, when you haven't answered yet either all of them or by the people you are following. Now you'll also notice there may be comments that are left. So this is an alert saying, hey, someone's made a comment about your question, about a question you've written. So let's have a look and see what that comment may be. That was a good question to get people thinking, but the explanation could have been a bit clearer. Okay. And then you can actually click on that, and it'll actually take you to that question. So maybe now you can go back and either edit the question, or maybe you realize, you know what, that's a pretty bad question. I'm actually going to delete that question because I don't want other people sort of falling trap to it. So there's all kinds of ways that you can get different types of things. Or maybe you just want to go in and improve your explanation. So these are ways that you can follow up on questions you've written based on comments made by other individuals. But in this case, let's say we want to go back and just answer some more questions. So I'm going to click on View All Unanswered Questions. Here again, I have a few options. This is going to give me the whole list of questions I have not yet answered. Maybe I just want to today, because I'm studying a particular part of the course, I just want to answer questions on a certain topic. If I click on Choose Topics, that'll give me a list of all the various tags that people have used when trying to identify what content their question relates to. So maybe I want to just look at all the questions having to do with Fratling. Well, I can click on that, and that'll just bring up all the Fratling-related questions. So again, that's the way that you can go and very precisely study just certain areas of the course as well. In this case, let's just go and answer the first question available. So, which of the following exceptions to the law of lompacity? Which of the following are exceptions to the law of lompacity? Milter cup and natter cup, bifid pantrip, common queeter, flanged ozzel. I'm going to say C. I think it's the common tweeter. So what I'll get back is saying, no, in fact, the person who wrote the question said that was the correct answer. Geez, I wonder why. What's their explanation? The most probable explanation option is A. This is given away by the plurality of the stem and the singularity of B, C, and D. The following exceptions. That's what they mean by the plurality. And this is the only answer that lists 2. So now I have the option of either changing my answer to the correct one, or saying, you know what, no, I think mine is correct. I think the person who wrote the question might be wrong. I'm going to confirm my answer because I really think that's right. So now what will come up when I look at the question, when anyone else looks at the question, is what the different people answered and whether they were confident of that answer or not, even after reading the person's explanation. So based on that explanation now, I can either say, geez, you know what, I don't understand that. I need help. So you click on Request Help. And that will send out a message basically saying, I've requested help on the question you've written. Can you help me out here? Or you could say, I'm going to improve the explanation. And now you can write that, okay, that's a better explanation would be, and whatever you want to list as that is. And then you could save that. So now you can increase or improve the explanation so that when other people answer the question, they'll be able to get a better confirmation as to why that's the right answer. You can scroll down and now make a comment on the question. I think that was a great topic, but the explanation could have been a bit clearer. Save the comment. So now you're giving feedback to the person who wrote the question. Now you want to rate the question. Is it easy, medium, or hard? So basically, you pick it based on what you think the level of difficulty of that question was. And you also want to rate the quality of the question. So quality is based on 4 things. It's based on taking into account the language of the question. So in our context, did they use the correct dental terminology when writing the question and in the answers? How good were the alternatives? Not just the right answer, but were the other alternatives, the distractors as we call them, the other possible answers, were they realistic enough that someone who didn't really understand the material being questioned could have answered incorrectly? What's the quality of the explanation? How well was it explained, the answer explained? And lastly, was it really a question that really was relevant to the material that we were covering in the course? Or was it kind of outside course material? So based on those 4 qualities, it's either very poor, or it's excellent, or it's somewhere in between. So I'm going to say it was an easy question and it was fair quality. Should you be concerned about the question either because it had inappropriate or potentially offensive material, or because it wasn't really material relevant to the course, then you can report it by selecting a check mark there. That way the administrator will get word of a potentially inappropriate question and deal with it as they see fit. Would you like to follow the author? You thought, hey, that's a really good question. I want to answer more of their questions specifically. So you can follow the person or not. And then you submit and return to the next question in the list. So that's basically the way you would answer questions as you go through. You'll also, as more people have answered questions, as you come back to your list, you'll see how many people have answered the question. You'll see how many actually answered the question the author thought was the correct answer. How many people requested help about the question. What's the most recent comment that was posted? How many comments have been posted? How difficult is it? And what's the overall rating? So let's say it's just before exam time and you say, okay, I think I know this stuff really good. I want to try just the most difficult questions and see how I'm doing. Then you can sort all of them by the level of difficulty. So either high to low or low to high. So again, it allows you to filter the types of questions that may or may have not been answered. So again, back at your home page, you can see that now you've answered 5 questions. You've written 3 comments about these questions. Your answer score has gone up. Reputation score hasn't really changed because it's not based on what you do. It's based on how others value what you do. So that's a quick run through of how to answer questions in PeerWise and how to use all the various features to improve your degree of active learning.